A little over 50 years ago, the Club of Rome published the Limits of Growth report, and it came to a drastic conclusion. Stop economic and population growth, or else our planet will not cope.
The Netherlands is one of many nations that's been taking measures to reduce its nitrogen pollution, and a number of farms may have to be closed down.
In order to restore nature, we have to reduce the number of animals in the Netherlands.
It's basically the second largest food exporter in the world, and they're being told that they're going to need to cut their production at a time of global food insecurity to basically follow climate mandates. This seems like complete insanity to me.
Part of the Dutch plan is to buy out farms, which are being seen as being pollutant.
The minister talking about hugely attractive buyout packages. That's a ridiculous statement.
Good morning and welcome back to Starkeep Wormstead. So we're going to talk about something today called reaping what we sow. I was sitting down and doing a little research from some videos that some amazing subscribers sent me about what the farmers in the Netherlands are dealing with as the government comes in and literally tries to take their land. Then I began to look at some more research, and someone else tagged me in a video of a gentleman admitting to being paid to put up cloud seeding, okay? And so I'm reading all this, and I come across an article, and I quote, "Just as carbon tax proposals aim to reduce the carbon footprint of the energy sector, taxes levied on unsustainable and unhealthy foods, notably meat, dairy, and ultra-processed food, could discourage their overconsumption, bringing consumption in line with scientific nutritional recommendations." If you have never caught my video on the food pyramid, go back and watch it. Their scientific recommendations are junk. Okay, where was I? The average U.S. retail price of a Big Mac is $5.60. But with all the hidden expenses of meat production, including healthcare, subsidies, and environmental losses, the full burden on society is a hefty $12 sandwich. A price that, if actually charged, would more than half the U.S. demand for burgers. Okay, so basically what they're trying to say is a gallon of milk would run $9 instead of $3.50, and a 2-pound package of pork ribs would jump from $12 to $32 if they charged what they believe is the downfall for the earth and your health for eating and consuming those products. Now, the article itself wasn't bad. In fact, you guys, I agreed with the parts in here where it says subsidies. Okay, so right now the government subsidizes large farms for monocropping grains. And when the grain market fails, the U.S. government, the USDA, steps in and pays these farmers with hundreds of acres a set amount of money to keep farming grain, even though the world doesn't need it. We're not supposed to consume it. It's for the livestock. They'll keep on producing it year after year, even though there's no market for it. And we keep propping up these farming systems when we should let them fail. Well, I agree with that. And she's saying these subsidies should be redirected towards sustainable farms producing plant-based protein for human consumption. So here's the problem. It's so hard to find common ground with anybody on the Save the Planet side because they don't see sustainable farming the way that I see it. I see it as small acreage, small family farms where you're integrating livestock into the food production and you're growing your own livestock feed, and therefore you're eating your livestock and you're eating the vegetables that the livestock help to grow. Therefore, I am sequestering carbon because I don't till. I use drip irrigation. I use heavy mulch. I'm sustainable all the way across the board. I'm totally organic, totally regenerative, and I'm totally debt-free. So I'm not getting subsidies anyway. But they want me to focus on producing plant-based proteins for you, when I'm going to focus on growing what my consumers would like me to produce for them, the vegetables that they prefer, the fruits that they prefer. Why? Because they pay my bills. And that's where the downfall comes. We can't find common ground in this discussion because, one, their science is wrong. The food pyramid that they have our kids eating is completely wrong. It needs to be turned upside down. And the smallest at the top should be the biggest. And at the bottom, with all the fats and grains, all that should be minimal that we ingest. Yet their science was based on consumerism and large corporations paying the government to fib the science. So they're asking us to change everything in the world about how we grow our food based on incorrect science. But there are people like me that are willing to meet them halfway. I'm good with the no-tilling. I'm good with you telling me I can't purchase commercialized nitrogen fertilizers and stuff. My rabbits make the only nitrogen fertilizer that I need, their urine. So there's people like me that can think through the problems that we're going to be facing as we approach 2030 and the regulations that are going to come down. But I'm not okay in a free country with you telling someone they can't eat a Big Mac. Look, if somebody wants to eat 12 Big Macs a day and weigh 600 pounds, that's their problem. That's their problem. They even go on in this article to talk about how changing how we grow our food and how we consume our food will produce less missed work days. So they see us like we're just machines. We're just slaves to their system. That's literally how they see us. So how are we ever going to have a truthful conversation when their ideas are based on fake science and we're supporting and propping up a system that should have failed 60 years ago with Big Ag? Where's the middle? How do we have this conversation without having to discuss global warming and climate change? Because there's people like me that don't believe it. I don't believe in it. I don't think we have too much carbon. I don't think my kids are going to run out of fresh water. I think that the gluttons in the world, I feel like the people that have taken over and control everything are just stealing it. That's how I feel. God literally says in the Bible, there will never not be seed time and harvest, night and day. Like that's going to keep on until he comes back. So I'm not worried that the world's going to crash and burn. But I guess if you don't have a strong enough faith or you have no biblical training, you would be concerned about the weather. And I'm simply not. So how am I going to have a conversation with somebody that's screaming the world's going to burn up next year when I believe that it's not going to? I don't know, you guys. Crazy stuff. But enjoy the clips that I put in here for you because this is what we're facing. Oh, and if you want to know where I got what I read for you guys, the International Monetary Fund. And they were discussing all the World Economic Forum's get together in Davos. And that was written in 2019. So now we're in 2023 and we're really seeing them push down. The first clip I'm going to show you is from the Netherlands Farmers 2022-2023. And the next clip I'm going to show you is going to be the guy talking about how they're seeding the clouds and how they're blocking the sun on purpose. And the government's paying them for that. That one's more recent. So please like, comment, and subscribe.
Where are we here? Where is it? Ah, here it is. Right there. So this is called a fogger. This actually ups our revenue from $10 a gallon up to $40 a gallon because this fogger here, it disperses the chem so much with the turbulence on the horizontal stabilizer in conjunction with the tip caps here. That causes some turbulence back here and it fogs so much that you end up with this. I'd say we did a pretty good job last night as we flew into Cranbrook. So British Columbia, you're welcome. We did a very good job of seeding clouds for you and blocking out the sun, as you can see. So we're stopping climate change. So there you are, folks. I've come clean and I told you what the truth is.
Thank you. So the big question that we were asking in the report, and we asked IDRI to test for us, was whether or not we can grow enough healthy food for the future UK population. And the answer to our great satisfaction is, in fact, we can, whilst also ensuring future food security without, importantly, offshoring our environmental impacts, by eliminating those economically and environmentally costly synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. It also enables us to support more diverse mixed farming enterprises with a greater variety of crops and breeds and landscapes across the UK. And more importantly, perhaps, it doubles the amount of land available on farms for nature. It releases 1.2 million hectares of the current agricultural area for other uses, according to the needs that we determine. That might be greater climate mitigation, carbon sequestration, or ecosystem restoration. And the model shows that we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture by at least 38%, and with the possibility to